All right, so let's keep going. In order to save you from having to hear that crackle and pop and all of that kind of jitter that I'm getting from, the memory resources not being there, like, let me play just a little bit here. Yeah, I don't want to put you through that anymore in this tutorial. So what we're going to do is we're going to bounce this down to, we're going to bounce all of the tracks down to WAV files, and we're going to pull it back into the session and kind of have a session number 2 for this. Normally I wouldn't do that. I like to, if at all possible, I like to leave the session, leave everything in the original session, so there's only one session to open if you ever have to go back and make edits and all of that. But for the purposes of this tutorial, we're going to go ahead and bounce it down, export all of the stems, and then pull it back into another session. But at least we can go over the steps that it takes to do that. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to make sure that each sample is, and we're creating samples, right? We're creating WAV files. I want to make sure that it aligns to a mixer channel. And the way that you do that is we want to go through one by one. So tracks 1, 2, and 3, those were reference tracks that we don't need anymore. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete those, just to make it a little neater, right? Any tracks that are unused, I'm going to delete those. All right. And I'm searching through. It looks like the rest of them are used. Okay, great. So what you do is, if it is a pattern like this, like guitar chunk, for example, I'm going to select that. I'm going to open up the instrument rack, the channel rack, and I'm going to see which one. There it is. So as you can see, it's going to mixer channel number 4. You can see that right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click, track mode, audio track, and we're going to line it up to 4. There we go. And the reason we want to set it to the mixer channel that it's already been on is that we know it won't affect our mix, right? If we have any effects or reverbs or anything like that on that channel, and the volume fader, any of that kind of stuff, we want to make sure it's going to the right channel. And then the next step, I'm just going to rename it after the pattern, guitar chunk. There we go. And let's do one more. We're going to do brass. So I've got brass highlighted. And go right here. I can see that's going to 5. So we're going to right click, track mode, audio track 5. Rename, right click, rename. This is called brass. And I'm going to pause the video here, but I'm going to go through and do that for every channel. Oh, actually, before I do that, I do want to show you how you can do it with any playlist track that has a sample like this in it. You can you can double click on that. Like, you can see this one's going to 9 right here. So if it's not in a pattern, it's just a sample on its own, you just double click on it, and that's how you can find the mixer channel. So I'm going to go to 9. I'm going to right click. I'm going to rename this. Well, what is this? I think these are drums. Here, let me play it. Yeah, like a tom fill. So I'm just going to rename. It's a distorted tom fill. So distorted tom fill. There we go. All right, I'm going to pause the video here, and I'm going to do that for all of the tracks. Okay, so I've gone through, and you can see each one of these has a name. It has a little letter A by it, meaning it's tied to that mixer channel. There we go. All right, cool. The next thing I like to do is, normally this would happen at the very end of the session, and you're just exporting the stems. So, you as a producer, you may work with another artist, and you might want to send them the individual instruments. What I like to do is just make sure the session is nice and clean, so when I do reopen it, I don't have a lot of extra things, extra channels, exporting things that aren't necessary. So I'm going to go back to the mixer, and I'm just going to look for any of the channels that are still called insert. So there's this one, and I'm just left clicking, and then I'm clicking Control Shift, and I'm holding Control Shift down, and I'm highlighting these, and I've let go, and now I'm just going to do Alt and then the right arrow, and I'm going to shift these over. And let's see what we have coming up here. Okay. Shifting them over. Oh, I have another insert here, insert 21. So I'm going to Control Shift, holding that down, click there, and then I'm going to Alt with the arrow again. There we go. So we're to the right of all of the named channels. So they're all in a row. And then I'm just going to right click and change each one of these back to default. There we go. So if I need a fresh channel, if I ever have to come back to this, there's not any extra plugins or automations or anything like that. So there we go. We have a nice clean session. Everything's in a row. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to export the stems. And I'm going to export them into this song sample folder. What do we call this? Silence, something like that. Right here, silence. Yeah, that's what we named it. So the way you do that is we're going to hit File. We're going to go to Export, Wave File. We're going to look for that folder. I'm storing this on my F drive. So there's my F drive, and song samples. That's what I called my folder. You can call it something else. We're going to go silence, and I'm going to create a new folder. So I'm right-clicking. I'm going to create a new folder. There we go. Called Silence Stems. There we go. All right, I'm going to open this up. So now we know it's going to export directly into that folder. I'm going to hit Save. And it brings up this dialog box here. When you are, I always choose full song, leave remainder. Wave is, it's a high quality, highest quality file you can have. And then 24-bit is industry standard, stereo. All of this is by default, I believe, anyway, so I don't think there would be anything you need to change. But the one button you do need to pay attention to is this one, Split Mixer Tracks. So by clicking that, that's what exports each track into its own stem. Each instrument will have its own WAV file. So I'm going to click Start, and then I'm going to hit Pause and come back and show you what happened. All right, so we've exported it, and if you open this, two files that are always exported along with the individual instruments is one called Current and another one called Master, and what those are basically the full track of all the instruments combined. So I'm going to get rid of those, and then also insert 23. We'll see if that actually has any sounds on it. Occasionally you'll forget to name one, and maybe insert 23 does have a sound on it, but we'll double check that in a little bit. So here's the one called Current. I'm just going to right click, and we're going to delete that one. Soon as it lets me. There we go. All right. And then the other one's called Master. So right here, Silence Master. We're going to get rid of that one as well. Okay. Awesome. Now, we're going to pull all of these into a brand new session. So just note what your BPM is for the session. In this case, it's 93. You can see right there. So I'm going to click File, Save real quick. We're saving that. Okay, and we're going to open a brand new session. New basic. Takes a little bit. That's still saving the previous session. Any day now, FL Studio. And like I said, you normally wouldn't be exporting all of these files at this point in the production process, but I just wanted to save you from, since I'm recording a video at the same time, I didn't want to have to put you through listening to all that crackling, right? It's not a good experience for you, so I wanted you to be able to hear the music clearly as we make edits. So all we really have left to do on this is some transitions and some drops. And then we'll export it one more time and you'll be good to go. Oh, and mixing, obviously. But mixing, I'm going to give you kind of the secret sauce on, obviously you could go to school for years and become a master engineer and all of that, but I'm going to give you the secret sauce, kind of a shortcut to have a decent mix right out of the box. Okay, so we have 130, so we're just going to move that down to, what was it, 90? Oh, crap, I don't remember now. I don't remember what the session BPM was. I think it was 93. We'll try 93 and see if that's right. I'll let you know in a second. All right, so I'm just going to click the Windows button and the left arrow, and I believe that should... Well, here, let's do that. Let's just do it this way. So here we go. We have our session. We have our brand new session. I've adjusted the BPM to what I think it is. And now we're just going to go to the folder. I'm highlighting all of them, which is, either Control A or, I used Shift and selected them all. I'm going to pull this over to the beginning. And now you can see that we have all WAV files. Let me just zoom out a bit. We all have our individual tracks, and they're all in waves. Here, let me just play from the beginning real quick. Oh, hold on. And then it's in pattern mode by default. We have to switch that back to song mode. Huh. The beginning of the piano... The bass note's missing. All right, let's solve that. That's a great thing to tackle first. So here's our piano, and this will kind of help us figure out if we're at the right BPM or not. You probably remember the number. I don't, so we're gonna take a closer look. So this little waveform right here on measure 5, that should be right on 5, that piano attack. And if you zoom in, it's not quite landing on there, which leads me to believe that we were at like 92. No, I think it was 90. No, 93 is right. Okay, cool. So what we can do... Well, let me just hear that by itself. Oh. Okay, so I am just going to go to bar, make sure that's on bar. I'm going to cut this. I'm going to cut it here on measure 9. And what I'm doing is I'm going to replace... I know that my intro was just the piano, and then it repeats after 4 bars. So I'm just going to get rid of that, and I'm going to put this over here, and that should include the bass note. There it is. There we go. One more time. There we go. Alright, so we are good to go and to continue working, and we're going to work on transitions and all of that. But we covered bouncing your entire session down to WAV files in this one. Probably what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go through and assign each one of these and name them, just to keep it straight. So each one has its own channel, all of that, track mode. Insert 3, and then I'm going to go through and rename it. Like this is going to be the 808, etc. So I'm going to do that real quick, and then when we get back, all of that will be done, and we can start working on transitions and drops. Hey, what's going on? I hope you've enjoyed this training. This training is just part of a larger course, so if you want to take the whole course, just go to this playlist right here. Also, if you subscribe to my channel, you're going to get a lot of information on how to get your music into TV and film. So if that's something that interests you, go ahead and subscribe, comment, like, all of those things. Let's go.